Timeless Love on Brooklyn Avenue. Every love story holds unexpected twists and turns. Some romances are preordained, but others arrive like a whirlwind, sweeping away all barriers of age and social norms. This is the story of Ethan, a college student with a bright future, and Eleanor, the charming proprietress of a chain of art galleries in Brooklyn. Their relationship began with simple favors, but quickly developed into an emotionally charged and passionate adventure, forcing them to confront the most difficult choices in their lives. Eleanor. Ethan, come down here. I need to tell you something. Eleanor, the owner of the 5-story townhouse leased as studio apartments, stood on the ground floor calling up. Ethan. Yes, ma'am? Ethan replied, quickly grabbing the nearest tank top and putting it on. He was one of Eleanor's tenants. He was on academic break, but stayed in New York instead of going home. Most of his peers had gone home or traveled, leaving only Ethan, so Eleanor often relied on him to help with odd jobs around the house. Ethan quickly ran down to the ground floor. Seeing Eleanor standing in front of a large potted plant, he immediately understood. You want to move this plant, ma'am? Where are you taking it? Up to the 2nd floor, son. It's too crowded down here. I want to move it up there to make some space, Eleanor said, fanning herself with the bamboo fan. Seeing Ethan's forehead glistening with sweat, she moved closer to fan him. The new gallery space on the 2nd floor is opening in a few days, so I have to gradually clear out this stuff. Can Ethan help me move it up? Yes, absolutely, Ethan smiled. Eleanor asked him for many favors, but she always spoke and acted gently, thoughtfully, and with a kind understanding of others. Because of this, Ethan was always happy and willing to help. But there was a more significant reason. Ethan had been smitten and had his eye on the beautiful landlady for a long time. He knew that liking someone decades older than him was hard to believe, but if asked for reasons, Ethan could list a whole inventory. For instance, Eleanor never called him nephew like others did, but always by his first name. Every time he heard her call him, Ethan's heart would pound, and he just wanted to drown in her sweet voice. Eleanor was kind and good-natured, not sharp-tongued like some older women Ethan knew. And the most important thing, Eleanor was very beautiful, an undescribable, mature beauty. Even though she was nearly 50, her skin was still fair, pink, and supple. Though her figure was a bit full, to young men who appreciated curves like Ethan, Eleanor was nothing short of a goddess. These reasons alone were enough for Ethan to be infatuated with his landlady. Eleanor. Well, help me carry it then. Afterwards, come down and I'll give you a bowl of black bean sweet soup. I've had it in the fridge since yesterday, so it's nice and cool. Eleanor patted Ethan on the shoulder a few times and walked past him to the opposite side. As she passed, her body accidentally brushed against Ethan's back, making him feel instantly tense. He glanced towards Eleanor, but seeing that she was also looking at him, he quickly averted his gaze. This is nothing. You just leave it there and I'll carry it. Ethan stammered a few times before answering. Eleanor, let me carry it with you. It looks like this, but it's actually quite heavy. Ethan can't lift it alone. Eleanor bent down to grip one side of the pot, then looked up at Ethan. Let's go. We have to carry it together. Ethan wiped the sweat from his forehead, then gulped. Eleanor was bent over very low. Her neckline was dipping, allowing him to almost see everything he shouldn't. He tried to ignore it and focus on carrying the plant pot. But after just a few steps, his eyes involuntarily drifted towards Eleanor's body.
Because of this, he even almost walked into the wall. "Hey, what are you so lost in thought about? Planning to let me carry this all by myself?" Eleanor asked when she noticed him standing still. After she spoke, she realized he was staring at her. She immediately understood and stood up straight, still holding the pot but no longer bending as low as before. Seeing Eleanor's action, Ethan snapped back to reality.
I didn't mean to, ma'am." Seeing Ethan's flustered state, Eleanor was quite pleased. She smiled kindly and initiated the conversation to ease his discomfort. "It's all right, it's nothing. If Ethan acts so distant, it's like treating me like a stranger." Next, Eleanor actively reached out and placed her hand on Ethan's, slowly showing affection. "I don't have family, and I don't have a husband or children, so I consider Ethan and everyone else here as my own family. Especially Ethan. You've always helped me, so I'm very fond of you. Sometimes I want to be closer to you, but I'm afraid I might cause some inconvenience, so I haven't dared." "No, not at all." Ethan shook his head frantically, feeling both excited and trembling from Eleanor's touch. He looked straight at her, hesitantly saying, I'm also very fond of you, ma'am, but I was afraid you wouldn't like it, so—" "Is that so? Are you truly fond of me, Ethan?" Eleanor intentionally put the plant pot down and motioned for Ethan to come closer. When he did, she took his hand, placed it on her body, and whispered in her ear with a seductive, languid voice, "If you're fond of me, now you have a chance to get close. What are you going to do?" Her soft, curvaceous body made Ethan jump when she got close, but his shock only lasted for a moment. After a few seconds, he regained his composure and began to turn his passivity into assertiveness. He wrapped his arms around Eleanor, pressing her against the wall. "I want so many things. I'm just afraid you won't agree." Ethan whispered softly in Eleanor's ear. He had received her signal, so naturally, he wasn't shy about making intimate moves. Given everything Eleanor had said and done so far, only a complete fool wouldn't recognize the implication. Ethan was quick to catch on to these things. Now that he had the chance, there was no way he would let it slip through his fingers. "I've said as much as I can. Do you still need to ask, Ethan?" Eleanor wrapped her arms around Ethan's neck, leaning into his body. "Right now, it's just the two of us in the house. No one will disturb us." Ethan received the clear signal and began to act on instinct. He lunged forward quickly, casting off all the dreamy emotions he had held for so long. He never thought there would be a day when he would taste the sweetness of his landlady, something he had only dreamed about every night. Eleanor was like arid land finding a rich rainstorm. All the long-held desires were finally released. They fell upon each other like starved tigers. In this encounter, Eleanor was more experienced, so she took the lead. Although Ethan had been in a few relationships before and currently had a girlfriend his age, he was still quite naive in many aspects. Eleanor's experience and guidance opened up a new horizon for Ethan, captivating him endlessly. Eleanor also enjoyed this greatly. It had been a long time since she had been intimate with anyone, and Ethan was a young man in the prime of his life, strong and robust, so she was completely immersed in the sweet indulgence with him. Ethan was young, and when people are young, they often don't know when to stop. He kept demanding satisfaction until Eleanor had to sigh before he finally paused. Everything happened so fast that Ethan couldn't believe what he had just done. Looking at Eleanor's face, it was clear how satisfied she was. When Ethan sat up from the sofa to pour water, Eleanor lay completely exhausted, without a trace of strength left. Ethan held the glass of water in front of Eleanor, patiently waiting for her to take it. Thank you, Ethan." Eleanor reached out to take the water, but she was too weak to hold it, spilling half of it. She looked at Ethan, feeling guilty, and was about to look for a towel to clean up. "You just leave it. I'll clean it up later. Just drink some water now." Ethan personally helped Eleanor drink, not letting her move her hands. After she finished drinking, he went to find a cloth to clean up. By the time he was done, a thin layer of sweat covered his body.
Ethan was tired, so he lay down next to Eleanor, embracing her. "Were you satisfied, Ethan?" Eleanor once again showed affection towards Ethan. With one hand, she fanned him to cool him down. "I should be asking you, ma'am. Did you enjoy it?"
Ethan gently and tenderly kissed Eleanor and then continued, "Please tell me the truth. Don't lie just because you're afraid of hurting my feelings." "Of course I enjoyed it." Eleanor giggled. She started to feel flushed again from Ethan's closeness. "I was just afraid I wouldn't be as good as Laura, and that Ethan wouldn't like it." Mentioning Laura made him unhappy. How could he be happy when his girlfriend was mentioned while he was with someone else? Laura was Ethan's girlfriend. They had been together for over a year. At first, their relationship was good, but lately it had cooled down. Sometimes they wouldn't see each other for a month. Ethan had thought about breaking up for a long time, but hadn't had the chance. Now that he and Eleanor had this happen, he absolutely couldn't stay with Laura any longer. He was certain he and Laura would end things. But for now, they were still officially a couple. Eleanor suddenly bringing up Laura made Ethan feel like a terrible person and a wicked traitor. "What's wrong? Did I mention your girlfriend and now you're unhappy? Are you worried Laura will find out about this? Don't worry. I won't tell her. I won't tell anyone. As long as Ethan agrees to be with me, I won't care about anything else. I don't care if Ethan has a girlfriend or not." Eleanor actively sought to please him, holding Ethan tightly. Under the intimate touch of an experienced woman like her, Ethan quickly succumbed again, falling into the arms of the woman decades older than him. He no longer thought about Laura, about whether what he was doing was right or wrong, or about the enormous age gap between them. He only drowned in the passionate and scorching closeness with Eleanor. At her age, in some aspects, she couldn't compare to younger girls, but the seduction of an experienced woman like her was something not everyone possessed. Ethan was captivated by this unique charm. He thought to himself that he would be willing to live with her for the rest of his life. He didn't understand why he felt such strong emotions for a person like this, but every time he saw his landlady, he felt strange, indescribable feelings. He used to daydream about her every night. Being intimate like this was only in his dreams, yet today, it was real. After that day, Ethan and Eleanor spent the whole day wrapped up in each other. Since no one else was home, it was almost their private kingdom. They could be intimate anywhere they liked, and no one would stop them no matter how long they stayed together. This period made Ethan even more infatuated with his landlady, so much so that he forgot everything else, including his official girlfriend. It wasn't until Laura suddenly appeared at the front door that Ethan was jolted back to the realization that he had a girlfriend. That day, as Ethan and Eleanor were engrossed in each other upstairs, the doorbell rang. Ethan's phone rang simultaneously. He reached for the phone, answered, and was still tightly pressed against Eleanor. "Hello?" Ethan said groggily. "Ethan, I'm downstairs now. Come open the door for me." Laura's voice was a bit rushed. It sounded like she was impatient from waiting too long. Laura? Ethan stammered and immediately stopped all movement and sat up. "Who else would it be but me? Come open the door for me." Wait a minute, okay?" Ethan said and immediately hung up before Laura could reply. He turned to look at Eleanor lying beside him with an awkward expression, unsure how to respond. "Is that Laura?" Eleanor had heard the entire phone conversation and knew who had arrived. She deliberately sat up and got dressed, looking surprisingly composed. "Go open the door for her. I'll take my clothes back to my room." Eleanor had practically lived in Ethan's room for the past few days, leaving a lot of her clothes and personal belongings behind.
Having to quickly clean up now was quite a hassle, but there was no other choice. After getting dressed, she immediately started tidying up, her movements quick, showing no sign of being upset. Ethan felt guilty, so he went over, hugged her for affection, and said, "Laura, I'll be direct with her. I'll be direct with her later. This kind of sudden arrival won't happen again." Eleanor felt a sense of relief from her lover's comfort. She smiled and tightly held Ethan's hand placed on her body.
It's all right, Ethan. Go downstairs now so she doesn't have to wait. Just do what you think is best. I trust you. Hearing this, Ethan was even more touched. He waited for Eleanor to pack her things and return to her room before going downstairs to open the door for Laura. When he saw the girlfriend he hadn't seen in a long time, Ethan was a little surprised that Laura had gained so much weight. It was like she had become a different person. "Why are you looking at me like that? Let's go up to the room first. I have something to tell you." Laura also noticed Ethan's scrutinizing gaze but paid no attention. She pushed him aside and walked into the house first. Ethan followed. As they reached the upstairs floor, he coincidentally ran into Eleanor. Laura briefly greeted Eleanor and went into the room first. Ethan waited until his girlfriend had completely entered the room before walking over to Eleanor, briefly holding her hand, then immediately letting go and entering Laura's room. Once inside, before Ethan could say anything, Laura handed him an ultrasound picture and a pregnancy test stick. "I'm pregnant. 3 months along. I just found out, so don't think I was trying to hide it from you. I'm also telling you directly that I can't have an abortion because it's too far along. If I insist on terminating it, it will affect my ability to have children later. Besides, I don't want to abandon the baby. You're the father. What are you going to do about this?" This shocking news left Ethan stunned for the whole afternoon. He just stared at the ultrasound picture and gripped the pregnancy test stick in his hand. Finally, after a long silence, Ethan made a decision. He walked over to Laura and held her in his arms. "Go ahead and have the baby. We'll raise it together. Do you want to get married before or after the baby is born?" "I don't want the baby and me to be judged." Laura didn't answer directly, but her intent was clear. Ethan nodded, his heart overwhelmed with conflicting feelings, but he couldn't back out. Through the slightly ajar door, he saw Eleanor's tearful eyes looking at him. He could do nothing but sigh. Things had come to this point, and Ethan couldn't make decisions solely for himself. He was going to be a father. Now he had to take care of his child first. A week later, Ethan moved out of Eleanor's rental house to live with Laura. He also stopped contacting Eleanor from that moment on. About a month later, Ethan and Laura held their wedding. After getting married, Ethan attended college while working part-time as an IT specialist to support his family. The busy life didn't leave him time to think about anything else. Several years passed. When Ethan secured a stable job as a senior IT professional at a major tech company and had a loving wife and children, he was nearly 30. He no longer thought much about Eleanor, only occasionally. When feeling bored, he couldn't help but remember the brief time they spent together. He heard that Eleanor had moved to Florida and married someone her own age. Her life was quite good. Knowing this, he felt at peace. Now he was content with his peaceful life. He also wished Eleanor a comfortable life for the rest of her days. For Ethan, Eleanor was a youthful, impulsive memory, a memorable one that he would never forget in this lifetime. The story, Timeless Love on Brooklyn Avenue, brings forth profound lessons about responsibility and maturity. 1. Responsibility must always take priority over impulsive passion. The relationship between Ethan and Eleanor was a whirlwind of intense passion. But the arrival of the child forced Ethan to confront the greatest responsibility of a man. The lesson here is that no matter how intense emotions are, when a life needs protection, responsibility to family and children must come first. 2. Acceptance and grace.
Eleanor demonstrated maturity and magnanimity by accepting the reality and handling her situation with composure. She understood that love is not just about possession, but also about wanting the person you love to fulfill their duties. 3. Memories are part of growth. Ethan could not deny the time spent with Eleanor. It was an impulsive but memorable experience. This shows that complex emotional experiences, even those that don't end as hoped, are a vital part of shaping who we become as adults.